Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order Last Days of Your Past, the U.S. Russian Revolutionary Front. Now, in the last video, I'll get my timer out real quick. 40 minutes. Let's see, last video, we noticed a little bit of efforts over on this front to for Team to win that totally were not inspired by us at all. I believe we went ahead, finished up our economic tree. I think we might have even finished up our political tree as well. And then from here, start working on some politics. Might do some foreign policy soon as well. And just kind of go from there. Yeah. Good stuff overall. Looking all out and about. Let me check all this. It's been a few hours. I went to sleep in between the last recording session and this one, so I'm trying to get a bit more of a grasp on where we left things off. So I'm sort of getting a grasp on that. We got a new focus to set, so let's go ahead and do industrial lynchments. There are certain areas in our lanes that have high concentrations of population and natural resources. It's only natural that we should take advantage of these locations to build our industrial facilities. Much like we once built Magnitogorsk to be our Gary, Indiana, we will build up these towns to be our Detroits, our Manchesters, and our Pittsburghs. I actually get those references. Thank you, game. Let's go ahead and get some more anti-tank stuff coming in. Yeah, Human is actually starting to do some stuff. It's just giving them a good long while for them to actually finish up. Oop. Not sure what was happening just then, but here we are. Still doing okay. We might go ahead. Is there anything we can do for poverty? It doesn't look like it. Industrial expertise, I think we're fine on, really. What do we want to do? We might just save the political power. Honestly. Actually, our academic base could use some work. Ooh, our poverty is going down even quicker. I think that's just because we finished up the thingamajig. The poverty programs, that's it. Let's go ahead and get our academic base improved. Let's allocate some education funding. And then from here, let's look outward a little bit, actually. With West Russia under their army's wardship once more, we've now re-entered the world stage as an actor among equals. This comes with renewed attention from enemies and allies both old and new. Consequently, we invite unto ourselves great risks, great rewards, and great opportunities in equal measure. Stavka will not dally in keeping away the first, inviting in the second, and seizing the third. We will begin these three tasks by first answering an age-old dilemma. Should the front restore its old ties with the West's sleeping giant? Or should it forge its own path among our socialists in the East? It's an interesting question, of course. I don't know how much it's going to matter, actually, ultimately. In the greater balance of power thing, of course. Angola? UNITA? Those are despots? Those are the despots, okay. Well, Yeah, the right idea, I guess. Just sit back and see what Tiumen does. Damn, Tomsk is actually seemingly starting to win this. With our two options decided, it's time we choose. Our diplomatic choice could very well determine the future of Russia. Our first option is align with the OFN and America. While befriending America could come in handy with wars against Germany and the other Russian powers, it could very well show that we were betraying our very ideology. America could also aid us economically and militarily, but a more social option is also apparent. Instead of aligning with the OFN, we can make our own alliance of a social turn. Befriending other socialist nations in the world would not betray our ideology. It could also be perfect for us on the world stage, displaying our strength and socialist solidarity. Unfortunately, no social turn could provide what the U.S. could, and may, well, weaken us in the long run. We must choose an approach, as diplomacy is necessary if we want any support at all in reuniting Russia. Do you choose America, sacrificing ideology for aid, or do you choose with social turn, perhaps unite the socialist world, but alienate the Americans? I think let's move our eyes to the West. The Red Army of the United States of America has been a loyal patron of the Red Army since the Great Patriotic Wars. Not one always changed despite the German fascists. Its material support, food, equipment, and medicine aplenty continued to pass via Kagi courts and into the West Russian War. Formally hailing Washington with our diplomats will signal to them that the Red Army is ready and willing to continue the relationship cut short by Suvorov. There we go. Maybe we can go ahead. Yeah. Well, looks like these lands all seem to be nice and developed, at least. Not as developed as they could be, but all things considered, coming along. Vorkut has 10 infrastructure. Oh, Jesus, that's ridiculous. Ooh. That's interesting, seeing as that was the OFN government, right? Crisis in Nanjing. Well, let's go ahead and, let's get rid of these stains on the uniform. Tukhachevsky and his clique have been constantly going behind the marshal's back, and occasionally trying to stab him in it. This is unbecoming of a professional soldier in the Red Army, especially ones with such high ranks as him and his men hold. They are a disgrace and a stain upon the uniform, and one knows what must be done with stains. These traitors must be removed from service. Now, it was to my understanding that they were already gone. But, you know what? We can, really hit that point home. And so, more factories, of course. Opportunity to build up some more infrastructure. Let's put some stuff over here. In Shelyobarsky. It's not a bad option at all. What is going on elsewhere? Could build up some more infrastructure, of course. Zhukov is maxed out. Arkhangelsk is doing pretty well in that regard. We could do Svensk. We'll build up Kostroma to infrastructure 8. The contents of a letter from Zhukov did not come as a surprise to Tukhachevsky. The only surprise was how long it had taken to perceive it. After his failed effort to take control of the front following Voroshilov's death, he half expected to be executed for treason. Instead, Zhukov had seen the bigger picture and let bygones be bygones, for the moment anyways. Even scared rival could not deny Tukhachevsky's talent as a commander, so he'd been allowed to help retake Western Russia. Now that the front was secured, it seems his services were no longer needed. The letter accused him of, quote, unprofessional and reckless behavior in the field, unquote, that was not suitable for an officer of the Red Army. Tukhachevsky knew that this was horseshit and deserted Zhukov. He commanded his men the same way he always did, efficiency and mercilessly. He knew that the Union's enemies would offer no quarter in war. They had the last time they invaded, and Tukhachevsky refused to weaken his forces just for the sake of appearances. Apparently, appearances were important to Zhukov, though, either important enough to fire one of his best generals. It would not just be him, either. Tukhachevsky expected many of his subordinates would receive similar letters soon, if they hadn't already. Back in the old days, purges had been carried out with bullets. In Zhukov's Union, it seemed they were now done with notarized letters. He folded the letter and put it away. The end had finally come for him, but not in the way he had expected. Maybe Zhukov knew that he had expected death and decided to torment him instead. Rather than grant him a quick, clean ending, Tukhachevsky would be allowed to linger on, forced to find an answer to the question he hoped he'd never have to ask. What next? Womp womp. What do we want to work on next? Infrastructure-wise. Let's build up the peninsula a little bit more, get some more resources there, nice and developed. Let's try to get all of this up to infrastructure 6. Yeah. I'll even do it up there just because that'll give us more steel. And then from here, let's get some lessons from Unification Wars. The battle for the Western Front requires great skill and adaptation from the Red Army. Our forces had to fight in both farmlands and great cities, to ford raging rivers and cross enormous hills, to march through open fields, and to fight in dense forest. We must impart these lessons, tactics, and best practices in these areas to the entire army, so that we won't have to learn these skills all over again. They're going into the north. They got... Yep, they're going after Ugra, it seems. Looks like we got a little Congo crisis going on. Land reform. I already got Magnitogorsk. Actually, Magnitogorsk, that's over here. That actually might not be the worst idea. Yeah, do that. And then hopefully one day we'll get another poverty reduction thing. From here, more sport weapons. Improved jet fighters are done. Let's get working on some heavy aircraft actually. Those might be good to get. Improved jet fighters, let's get them. Yeah, they're beating back Ugra. Quite a quaint little thing. Mamma mia. At dawn is not just night that dies, it is man who is becoming. And the warm blood stinging the pavement is a word that is just starting. Riccardo Monorini. On Ottomans. What did they end up doing? They went with a DC. Right. Well, let's go ahead and get, quality over quantity might help us possibly soon. So let's do that. We're going to have the best army in the world. We'll have the best equipment, the best arms, and the best vehicles. It's also going to be a highly discriminatory about who's going to be a soldier in the Red Army. Having a large military is good, but there are many people in Russia who are simply not capable of making the cut. We want the best army, and that doesn't mean the largest one. I respect it. Stockholm Conference succeeds. Okay. There goes Himmler's boys in Asturias. And all of this is coming along very nicely. We'll give Kaganovic some time so he can reunite all of this. And then we'll see if we can't do things a bit peacefully, no? That's my hope. Now we can all resolve this peacefully. Next, let's go ahead. Let's send Yakovlev. For the first envoys Russia will send to the Western Hemisphere in decades, garnering impressive first impressions is a necessity impelled by the front's needs. In this, our entourage will be aided immensely by Alexander Yakovlev and, to a lesser extent, Sergei Akromiev, both fervent advocates of welcoming America back to Arkhangelsk even in the days of Voroshilov. If nothing else, Comrade Yakovlev's rhetoric will converges surprisingly wealthy Americans. His words would surely resonate among their politicians and media men. You can know, maybe. What's Harrington up to? The NPPC is doing okay. They're managing unemployment. Yeah. And there goes Iberia. The plane began its slow descent into Vadul's International Airport, circling once before completing its landing. Alexander Yakovlev was finally glad to be off a long flight. His trip to America was a rather bumpy one, and he didn't usually like flying. Sent to America to negotiate a trade deal and request American economic aid, Yakovlev was happy to meet with the Americans. Having visited multiple times before, he was all but used to the country and its people. This time would even be an official visit. If all went as planned, he would even get to meet the president. It was also lucky that Yakovlev knew English. He's one of the only few of the higher echelon members of the front that actually knew it. No one ever really studied back in the warlord days, and most couldn't even travel to English-speaking countries. But that was the past, and Yakovlev was successful in these few weeks. He knew a partnership that could last decades could be built between Russia and the U.S. Hopefully the Americans greet us with open arms. Here's hope. Come on, Harrington, you fucking bleeding heart. Let's do it. Diplomatic etiquette, metal-bedecked uniforms, and rudimentary English. Whatever we could prepare Comrade Yakovlev's entourage with, they already have. Their ship will depart Arkhangelsk for New York City, and thence to D.C. within the coming weeks. Yakovlev was keen to reassure the Grand Marshal that he will return with dignified gifts from the Coca-Cola Company. Yes, Comrade Zhukov and the fishing tackles Mr. Eisenhower had promised, too. And well, good luck with that, boys. It's like this war. I don't know how that's supposed to work out. Better research facilities. We'll get back to the schools eventually. This was it, the moment Yakovlev had been waiting for. He'd finally gotten to meet the President of the United States, and they talked a lot about so much more than just trade agreements. There's a lot more to know about America than Yakovlev realized. And of course, he mentioned how things were back home. They're much better since the last time Yakovlev visited America, that was for sure. His charms may have been useful in negotiations, now he would need some different charms. The big moment was upon them. The two would appear before the press and show the world the partnership between Russia and America. Stepping out the White House doors and speaking fluent English, Yakovlev turned and said, President Michael Harrington, it's been an honor to meet you. I'm very happy about the partnership between our two nations. Open trade will surely benefit us both. I will say, Mr. Yakovlev, I do hope this partnership continues, and I promise I will try everything I can to persuade Congress the benefits of our alliance. I'm glad you chose to be with us to move onwards into the future. Yakovlev held out his hand, smiling at the president and the cameras. The president shook it as if they were blinded by camera lights from countless reporters and journalists. Smile for the camera. Beautiful. Let's go ahead. Some efficient supply lines going. Lack of supplies doomed our army back in the World War, also doomed our forces in the West Russian War. It will not doom us again, for we will have an intricate group of supply depots and routes to ensure our forces, wherever they are, can get the ammunition and food that they need to keep doing what they do best. There we go. Research facilities are outdated now. So let's get working on a couple stuff for research facilities. Yep. So we're getting some new RPGs, so let's get them. What are you guys up to? They're arresting the caravans. The march from the mountains, cross the Urals, dot their T's, cross their I's. Let's establish consulate. By and large, Yakovlev's visit was a success. President Harrington and his associates heartily welcomed the Red Army's officers to speak before their Congress for the first time. The speech Yakovlev gave to the American assembled statesmen, his companion said, dominated the country's newspapers and televisions for days. It was this revelrous fugue where the president invited our ambassador to the old Soviet consulate, which he offered us in perpetuity. Let's not look a gift horse in the mouth, or in this case, gift buildings in their facade. Yeah, let's get black arms trading out of here. Black market trading, I guess. It's more apt to describe it as. Come on, Kagani. Jesus Christ, so you've filled their slots. Oh, and these guys are starting to push back, actually. against the CSR. All these aren't the most impressive. I'm not too worried about them. Let's get working down towards V's, and eventually we can start unification, hopefully soon, and then just from there, just go. Grand Marshal Zhukov has had enough with the instability and lack of chain command that has plagued the front. Time that the rules are laid down. There's one leader, and he's a man with the title Grand Marshal. Understand? Everyone else does what he says. It's pretty sensible, and everyone should do that. Makes sense to me, sir. Ooh. Oh, no. Don't fucking tell me. Let's get some tactical bombers. Is this gonna be the first game I see where Toast wins? What? Industrial expertise, how's that coming along? Let's actually do a little bit of this then. And then we're marching on. We've done it after many years of hard-fought battles. We've secured the West of Russia and the entire front against Germany, but Moscow isn't our next target, at least not yet. We'll march east now to restore the former Union, then the Red Army will double back to face the Germans once more. Come on, comrades. Oh, that's a good sign. There we go. They're doing it. They're doing something. They should have been doing something a long-ass fucking time ago, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. Especially with the HoI 4 AI. Next, rolling on. We need better armor to fight off the various warlords of East and to compete with the Germans in the West. All our efforts can go into researching new designs. If we can't build them ourselves, we'll go and buy them. There we go. For this bread, we thank thee. Beautiful. Believe our agriculture, yep, it's all up to date. After that, work on Kostroma. And then Vologda. I've been waiting on all this to avoid declaring war with the assumption that I can go ahead and peacefully unify with Tumen. Because, you know, both communists, I think it should work out. If it doesn't, that's just gonna be fucking awkward. Like, if none of that turns out to be true, then fuck. Let's get some anti-air going. Advanced anti-tank. People do not want words. They don't sound a battle. The battle of destiny. Black gold, red sand. Everything in the Red Army must be done quickly and with the least amount of effort. There are at least a million things to do. We must have do them all fast with the resources we have. We expect all of our men to uphold this ideal. There we go. I'll learn out a little bit in the case that we get another thing to help with poverty. God, why is my hand starting to cramp up? That's not nice. That's not nice at all. And you have 3 to 5. I just guess. Zhukov stood above the marching soldiers, watching them drill relentlessly as they had been doing for the last hour. If he didn't have enough weapons or resources for war, every soldier would have to be well-trained in elite fighting methods to overcome the enemy. One well-trained veteran was better than 10 regulars in Zhukov's mind. "Your marching break is over. Back to push-ups," yelled the drill instructor, walking between each individual, intently making sure every man was putting it in the effort. "Come on, you think you can do 30, Dominic? Or do you want to do the laps again?" There were weaklings, of course, thought Zhukov. They were in every army. Some had more than others. However, the stronger each man would help them in the field. Weakness could very well mean death. "Instructor, I want to see these men marching again. Make it double time." "You're the Grand Marshal. March! I better not see any slow steps." The tired men began to march in place once again, making sure to impress the Grand Marshal. They did not want to see what would happen if they made a mistake. Being in their army sure was hard work. "Get those feet higher." Next, heroes of socialism. Many great deeds for the people of Russia have been done by the people of the Red Army. We must remember these heroes and what they have done. Their battles against the oppressors of Russia must always be remembered, and their stories shall motivate and inspire the army and the people. There we go. No pollution controls. Oof. And minimal safety regulations. It actually does not seem the best to be a worker in old Russia. Come on, can you... It's Vorkuta. They have 1 victory point. Okay, 2 victory points. You can just take 1 and you're fine, though. Yuli waited for his turn on the stage, knowing he had finally achieved his career's dream. Hero of the Soviet Union, savior of communism, one of the bravest in the Red Army. Years of fighting Germans, collaborators, and capitalists finally paid off. As he continued to wait, he watched a group of Red Army generals congratulating the man in front of Yuli for facing down a Finnish tank and destroying it with the only grenade he had left. The man smiled and stepped off the stage, returning to his compatriots. "Yuli Volkov, please come to the stage." Yuli was approaching the platform, probably walking up the stairs and grinning all the way. "Volkov, your heroic actions in Onega are those of legend. Your story is like many others, yet incredible nonetheless. You fought bravely leading your men to the anti-communist volunteer guard fortifications and creating a breakthrough to Onega. Your rescue during the ambush on the Onega bridge will be a story told far into the future. As a private, you ably defended your motherland in the West Russian War. You fought for the good of Russia in the assault on Moscow. If anyone deserves a hero of Soviet Union, it should be you." Pride overcame Yuli as a medal was pinned to his chest. He knew you could continue to serve in the Red Army as the Union continued to reunify Russia. Maybe they would even create a medal just for him. A great story indeed. Next, the Army of the People. To finish this off, the Red Army is not a militarized form of the Communist Party, some would say. For when the system failed, who saved the people of Northwest Russia from chaos and disaster? Who gave the Hitlerites a tremendous lashing during the West Russian War? And who delivered the people of West Russia from bandits and warlords? The Red Army fights for the people of Russia, and will continue to do so till the red flag flies from Klaipeda to Cape Dezhnev. There we go. Any of the birds outside? I kind of wish I was outside, but what are you gonna do? Come on, beat back for Kuta. Poverty relief programs, there we go. Anything to minimize poverty the best we can. Next, we'll go ahead, do that. Probably do this. And I guess that too. Chaos will appeal for recognition. When the Union fell to Barbarossa, her soldiers were grouped in orderly fashion. When Russia fell to warlordism, her generals kept order for as long as they were able. And then the Reich was crippled by the fruits of her arrogance. Her beloved Red Army struck a blow from which Germania never recovered. We are the motherland's mighty bulwark, one and all. Oaths from inheritors of 1,000-year watch against her old nemesis to the west. For her sake, the Americans in their plenty must be reminded of that fact. How's Besanov doing? He has an okay army, actually. Certainly better than, the alternative. Hello, can you kill Vorkuta, please? Let's see, Comic-Con. Let's withdraw from that. Our debt is a little nuts, not gonna lie. Appeal for recognition. There we go! Let's get some Western investments going. The region's new peace has allowed the front's latitude in developing its war-torn lands to their old potential. As reapers weep fallow fields anew and workers return to dilapidated assembly lines, so too does money return to the countryside, and cities both. First in trickles, then in gently flowing streams. Our new friends in the American economy may be interested in helping the Stavka turn these trickles into streams, and perhaps then into torrents. There we go. It's about time. Human. Let us begin unification talks. Non-aggression. It's kind of a neat flag, actually. When can they continue their 5-year plan? Springtime for Soviet people. So you have to figure out their politics first, and then army. It's a little lame. Would appreciate maybe some free industry if they could get working on it, but you know, I guess I can't. Western investments. Let's get an academic base going. And then from here, poverty. Not too much else we can do, really. So let's tap the market. West Russia has resources aplenty. Chromium and tungsten from Vyatka, steel from Volga, and Tatarstan, and more. That other countries hunger for raw materials such as ours is not a question amongst Stavka, only the extent to which they shall have their fill from us. The Grand Marshal has been swayed towards giving the wider world trickers West Russia's bounty, thus opening another source of dearly needed revenues, rather than forbidding them outright. There we go. Soon enough we'll be done with our tree. We're starting the process. Sure. Non-aggression pact accepted. Declaration of friendship. And we got one more focus. Apply for OFN aid. Through our actions, the front has regained its old standing with the U.S. Western ships dock at Archangels can lead with Russian oars, just as we had before the Great Patriotic War. I'm going to do 5 more minutes. American generals appraise our troops with approving eyes. By the day, their diplomats regard our ambassadors less as Red Armies, but more as that of the Soviet Union come again. Comedy Yakovlev's prescience has borne the front fruit. Now more than ever, we can revive the mighty convoys that have delivered hope to our men with their every visit. Yeah. So we got some time. Public support increases. Preliminary conferences. Oh, excuse me? Never had that happen before. That's interesting. That's always a good one. Wonton soup. The voice was so cold it could have flash frozen over Volga. You ask the ambassador of our benefactor in the United States of America to be taken to eat wonton soup. Wonton soup. I can explain. We'd had to find a place where it could be conductive to raise a sensitive topics you've mentioned. Foreign aid to soldiers in a pricey establishment? No, that would be passé. Yes, but his defense was going well. He pressed on. So I asked for something so extraordinary its location would bypass fears of any potential surveillance. And who would think of eating wonton soup in an American city? Perfect plan, da? We'll mention this at a later stage, Alexander. For now, what news of our request? I think we got in the bag. The Americans seem receptive, and we'll speak later in the week regarding possible air routes for supply chains. I assume we'll clear the hurdles regarding the air defense networks. Yes, Yakovlev. We'll clear the air routes, assure new partners that we will cause them no trouble. Oh, and Yakovlev? Good job, but no more wonton soup requests, please. No more wonton soup. Damn. Yeah, sure. Promote dialogue. I guess I'll wait and see what ends up happening with the conference. Mixed results, shaking hands. We're now back to what it should be. So I'll do... just to speed this along, because we have nothing else to do other than this. Forward into unity and peace. In case this all goes to hell, prepare. Oh yeah, I'll take your money. Why not? We'll wait till this conference ends before we end the video. Now is not the time to be calling me, I'm sorry. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so we'll move these guys over there. Not like this. Never again. Len's body's been captured. We'll figure all this out another time. For now, it's time to get out of here, boys. Thanks as always for watching. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content in the future, hit the sub button for all those do weekday. As always, there's Saturday. If you have any comments, feedback, concern, anything of the sort, leave in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get and appreciate any feedback you might have for me. If you want to send a few bucks my way, I have a Patreon. If you want to chat or play games, I have Discord. If you want to see me do sort of live, Twitch, are all down in the description box below. Thanks as always for watching, boys. My name has been DB333. See you guys, alright, there we go. See you guys next time. Goodbye.